So now let's look at a couple of solutions that we can follow in order to get out of debt. And as Morena has discussed in the first session, the question that you need to answer for yourself and I need to answer for myself is, do I want to get out of debt or not? Because if I don't want to get out of debt, these solutions will mean nothing for me. But if I really want to get out of debt, then these can be some pointers on your road to be financially free. Now, the first thing that one needs to do is that dreaded word budget. Yes, we need to draw up a budget, and that would be your first step in paying off debts, and it's a more intentional way that you are looking at your money and your finances. And the best way to do a budget or to draw up a budget is with a zero-based budget, meaning all my income minus my expenses is equal to zero. And by doing that, I give every rand or every dollar a job. You make sure the bills get paid while you make progress on your goals. And then the second step is to use the debt snowball. If you've got more than one type of debt fighting for your attention, the debt snowball method will give you focus. It helps you prioritize your different debts and give you motivation. It gives you motivation to tackle them one by one. Now, how do I apply or how do I use this principle of the debt snowball? The first point is to list all your debts from smallest to largest, regardless of the interest rate. Just the physical amount that you owe, just list them from smallest to largest. Second point is to keep on making the minimum payments on all your debts, except the smallest debt. That's the one you attack with intensity. So you can do different stuff and do whatever it takes to throw as much money as possible at that littlest debt. You can get a second job, sell some stuff, and use your budget. Now, once that one is done, the smallest debt, you take what you were paying on that first debt and not spend it again on anything else, but you add it to your payment for your next debt, your next smallest debt or your next bigger debt. And you keep doing this until all your debts are gone for good. So basically, you would have your basic amount that you would use to pay off debt being kept constant for the whole period, and each time a debt is finished off, you would take that amount, you will just add it to your next debt. The third point that I want to make is I want to give some guidelines when we want to enter debt. So say for instance, I start out in life, I get married, my first child is on the way, and we need to buy a car or we need to buy a house. Every family situation is different. Or I'm just out of university now, I'm entering into life, I will get my first salary check, and now I need to start to live. So how can I use some guidelines, to ensure that I spend my money in a healthy way? Now here are some indications. Now this is not hard and fast rules, but it really is just a guideline, and it helps us not to overstep or overextend ourselves financially, because in the end it can harm us. Now here's some percentages. Say for instance I receive 10,000 rands or $10,000 a month. My percentage spending pattern will look like this. For instance, giving 10% if I want to buy a house or rent a house, the people say a healthy amount to spend is 25 to 30% of your income. So if you have an income of 10,000, 30% would give you a 3,000 rand or $3,000 amount to spend towards housing. Now that would include your insurance, your house payment, not just basically the house payment, but this is just giving you an indication. So I would not, for instance, rent a house for 8,000 rand if I only get paid 10,000 rand. That's not a healthy situation. Okay, so this is just guidelines. If I need to buy a car, the car suggestion would be between 10 and 15%. Again, for instance, if I receive 10,000 rand a month, it will not be beneficial for me to go and buy a car for 4,000 rand a month repayment. That is just too much. Okay. Health insurance 5 to 10%, which is 1,000 rand. Insurance 10 to 25%. Food 1,000 rand. Utilities, water and electricity 500 rand. Recreation 5 to 10%. Personal spending 5 to 10%, and miscellaneous 5 to 10%. So looking at this, looking at 10,000 rand, our scenarios will look different because our family makeup is different. I think all that I want to bring to your attention is the fact that don't overextend yourself on a single item that would hurt you and that would make that you cannot get to the other living expenses that needs to be paid on a monthly basis. Okay, so those are steps that one can take as a solution to get out of debt. So the first thing is to draw up a budget. The second one is to use the debt snowball method to pay your debt. And the last one is basically to follow certain guidelines when you want to enter into debt, not to overextend yourself.